Today, we check out some movies and documentaries that got me into punk rock music. Check it. Everyone has that one, or several, movies or documentaries that have inspired them throughout the years, getting them into something that they're passionate about, or even leading them on to a career. Whether it's as simple as watching Jim Carrey's Liar Liar and going, I think I'm going to be a lawyer one day, or watching band documentaries like myself and a number of other musicians have done, to inspire oneself to be on the screen one day or in front of that large crowd of people. Today we're going to look at just that. Here's a look at 9 movies/documentaries that got me into punk rock music. We're going to start off this one with one of my all-time favorite punk rock movies, SLC Punk. Starring Matthew Shaggy-Doo Lillard and Christopher Shooter McGavin McDonald, SLC Punk follows the life of Lillard, his character Steve-O, through the Salt Lake City punk scene during the 80s, 90s Reagan era in the United States. For any punk rocker, this movie is a definite must-see. It's a tearjerker at the end, and it has tons of quotable moments and rewatchable scenes. American hardcore gives you that first-person, fucked up, holy shit, I can't believe that happened perspective of the 80s/90s hardcore punk scene in America. This documentary follows the memorable accounts of bands like Bad Brains, The Exploited, Minor Threat, and of course Black Flag. It talks of all the crazy stories that went on, some of their rises to fame, junky house parties, and dealing with the police being in a punk band in the punk scene. It's a definite must-watch for any straight edge or hardcore punk fan. If you don't like Dave Grohl, then fuck you. You might have your own difference of opinion about the Foo Fighters or Nirvana, but the individual members of the bands by themselves are amazing people. Sonic Highways is a documentary that follows the Foo Fighters across the United States on a venture to track a song from every single city that they visit, encapsulating the spirit of said city. They talk to historians, other bands, and visit awesome places in each city, and then turn around and write a song about it. It's awesome to watch these guys go from city to city just to track one tune, even pulling in some special guests for some songs. For me, the CKY series is untouchable. CKY 3 was the first movie that I stumbled across that had Bam Margera, Ryan Dunn, and the rest of the CKY/Jackass crew in it. This is long before the hype of the early 2000s Jackass movie. I love how the movie shows insane stunts and pranks, and incredible scenes of skateboarding and stunts that only the CKY crew were able to capture in their own way. Another Margera film. It kind of doesn't have a lot to do with punk rock, but at the same time, it made me want to watch the movie and then go break shit, which is really punk. It's Haggard. This movie took a life of its own in a full-fledged, budgeted film, which was loosely based on the relationship gone wrong of the late great Ryan Random Hero Dunn. The story follows his awful relationship with girlfriend Glorin as he tries to rebuild his life after the breakup. It's truly funny and one of a kind and features all of the CKY Jackass guys. Even Tony Hawk makes an appearance in the movie. Another fictional, yet turned blockbuster hit is the movie Grind. The movie follows 4 skater friends on their mission to get signed/endorsed by a big shot skater named Jimmy and his company. The cameos are out of control in this movie, featuring everyone from Tony Hawk to Bob Burnquist to Bam Margera to Tom Green and Wee Man. The movie also has an awesome soundtrack featuring bands like The Used, Unwritten Law, Sublime, and Simple Plan, just to name a few. Just take my word for it, if you're into skating or punk rock music, go see it. The Riding in Vans with Boys documentary DVD was something that I accidentally stumbled across, and I'm so glad that I did. In the summer of 2001, arguably one of the greatest pop-punk punk rock tours took place. Green Day, Blink-182, Saves the Day, and Jimmy Eat World. Little known to pretty much anyone was a local band called Cut You Up that this documentary follows. Mark and Tom from Blink-182 stuck these guys in a van with a camera and threw them to the side stage and documented the entire tour. It's kind of the Mark-Tom experiment that shows how a little known band would react to the pressures and stress of tour. You see the guys blasted drunk almost every night of the tour. Watching all of their antics, what they were told not to do, and what they actually did was simply great. Did I mention they were drunk? Some of their moments of starstruckness kind of made me think what the hell I'd do in that situation if I'm peeing and Billy Joe Armstrong from Green Day is just standing next to me. It's an absolutely beautiful documentary. Watch it, stream it, do what you gotta do. I know it's kind of derivative that I'm talking about another documentary featuring Blink-182, but I can definitely say that without this documentary, I would not be playing bass guitar, and I would definitely not be into punk music. Now, while I was super into the Urethra Chronicles 1 Blink-182 documentary, it was the second one that really got me. It has everything in it, picking up from where the other documentary left off. From the band's essence of the time, which was around Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, the dare I say maturity of the band, and a highlight reel of all of the band's hit songs. It follows the band on tour and shows some of their highs and lows as Blink-182. I highly suggest this to any Blink fan. 1994. The hype and legend surrounding this movie is almost great as the documentary itself. The documentary that was written and directed by Jah Al-Atis, I think I'm saying that right, I hope I'm saying that right, is quoted as saying, exploring the birth, growth, and eventual tipping point of punk rock during the 90s, and produced by independent Australian company Robot Academy Films. The movie was narrated by legendary skater Tony Hawk and explores the explosion of contemporary punk rock in the early 90s, after the destruction of grunge music, to its pop-punk roots seeding in the early 2000s, featuring testimonial interviews from members of Unwritten Law, Pennywise, NoFX, Blink-182, Bad Religion, Green Day, The Offspring, and a shit ton more. I waited for this documentary to come out for almost 5 years, and it kept getting pushed due to licensing. If you don't check out anything else on this list, check out 1994, please. Now that you're back, thank you for commenting, subscribing, and give this a share on over to any one of your friends that like punk music. If you like any of the movies or documentaries that I mentioned in this video, a link to their purchases is in the description below. Speaking of purchases, you can check out the Pop Punk Dad merch store and buy cool things like that right there. While you're getting your punk rock apparel on, it helps the channel and lets me know that you love me. And above all else, stay pop punk. Later!